Good afternoon, this is Sean Golding with Golding & Golding, here to discuss the basics of a recent notice that was published by the Internal Revenue Service to help taxpayers who have received penalties or have not yet filed certain tax forms regarding tax year 2019 and 2020. The nice thing is it includes certain but not all international information return forms and penalties. So why don't we go through the basics? Notice 2022-36 refers specifically to late filing penalties. Essentially, for taxpayers who have filed a late form tax return 5471 3520 for tax years 2019 and 2020, and or have up to September 30th, 2022 to file the forms, they can avoid penalties or have penalties automatically abated or gain relief from penalties for those years. Now, one very important thing to keep in mind is that it involves specific forms, but not all the forms. And we'll get into that in a minute, but some of the more common forms you'll find where people get penalized pretty heavily, Form 3520, 3520A, and Form 5471. Again, it only includes 2019 and 2020. So what are the key forms that are included, right? Form 3520, your foreign gift. Most common situation, U.S. person receives a gift from a foreign person. That gift or aggregate total of gifts from that individual in the same year exceeds $100,000. Maybe U.S. person gets an $800,000 gift from a relative, let's say, and they don't file the 3520, then they file it more than 5 months late. They get a 25% penalty. That penalty would be avoided. Form 3520A is for foreign trusts. When someone is the owner or a beneficiary of a trust, they can get dinged for some very high penalties under the Wilson case. They could get hit as the beneficiary and the owner. If you filed it late for those years and you qualify, you can avoid or abate that penalty as well. Another one is Form 5471, which is used to report foreign corporations. This is infinitely more complicated for taxpayers, especially with the GILTI rules and Subpart F, controlled foreign corporations, et cetera, and they can avoid or abate penalties as well. What is not included? Okay, this is super important, especially for taxpayers who may have many different forms they didn't file later or considering streamlined or reasonable cause, etc. Before 2019. So for most submissions, it includes anywhere from 3 to 6 years of previously undisclosed forms, and so it's probably going to include before 2019. Now, maybe you only have 1 or 2 years, but if you have multiple years and you were considering streamlined or voluntary disclosure, well, that's different. The FBAR, right? The FBAR is probably the most common form, foreign bank and financial account reporting, FinCEN Form 114. All you have to have is an annual aggregate total that exceeds more than $10,000 in any given year. Owner, co-owner, signatory, that's not included. Neither is Form 8938, which is in reference to FATCA, the Foreign Account Tax Compliance Act. So it's a great notice. It can help a lot of taxpayers, but depending on the facts and circumstances, it may not solve all of your problems. So you may want to consider one of the offshore disclosure programs. There are the voluntary disclosure program. That is for people who are willful or cannot certify under penalty of perjury that they're non-willful. If you're non-willful, you have a lot more available to you. You've got the streamlined filing compliance procedures, which is broken down further into streamlined domestic, streamlined foreign. Both of those are for offshore assets, accounts, and investments. It's just domestic means you are not a foreign person and you have the 5% penalty. Foreign means you're a non-resident and you qualify for a penalty waiver. There's also alternatives to the streamlined procedures. There's reasonable cause and delinquency procedures as well. We have a ton of free information available on our main website and our sub-websites. You can always reach out and schedule a reduced fee initial consultation if you think it's appropriate and something that we handle here. Again, my name is Sean Golding with Golding & Golding. Thank you for your time. Enjoy the rest of your day.